They are Crew Dragon Commander Michael Hopkins. Hello there, sir. Pilot Victor Glover. Good morning to you. Mission Specialist Shannon Walker. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. And Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut and mission specialist Soichi Noguchi. Good morning to you. Thank you all for joining us. I'm very excited to be talking to you. The first thing I ever wanted to be when I was a little boy was an astronaut. Unfortunately, I'm not smart enough, so you all are heroes to me. I really look up to everything you do. Let me start with Commander Hopkins. I want to ask you the first question. You have completed the most spacewalks, as a matter of fact, of anyone on the crew, including 3 on this mission. Tell us a little bit about what that is like. What you were doing when you were out there on the spacewalks?
Yeah, thanks, Tony. And on behalf of Crew One, thank you for speaking with us this morning. You know, the spacewalks, that's one of those very special moments that you have in space when you get to open the hatch, look out at the Earth 250 miles down below, and then go out and get to work. And so on this particular mission, we actually did 5 total throughout the mission, and we were doing a lot of upgrades to the station. Working on things like batteries and solar arrays, upgrading those so that we can extend the life of the space station. And it all went very well. Victor had 4 of those spacewalks as well. Soichi had 1 of them. And really can't say enough at how well they all went. And it was a lot of fun being able to go out the door the first time with Victor and just get to kind of hear his response to what that experience was like.
Well, I want to turn to Victor. Again, Victor Glover, the pilot for the mission. This was your very first space flight. Can you share your feelings when you first experienced weightlessness? Give us a memorable moment of looking out over the Earth, all of that.
Absolutely. Good morning, Tony. And you know, the opportunity to get out of the seat and look out of the window while we were still in Dragon after reaching orbit, it's hard to describe seeing the Earth from 250 miles up for the first time. It is just overwhelming. It's so beautiful. It's amazing to be able to see an entire body of water, or to see the horizon and see that thin atmosphere that protects us and makes life, the Earth comfortable for all of us. It's hard to describe, and I actually took out my tablet and started recording a video just to try and capture not the video of Earth, but just the overwhelming emotional response that I had. And I tried to share that with folks, and it's still out there on the internet somewhere, but it was just an amazing experience.
I can't even imagine. I want to turn to Shannon Walker, one of the mission specialists. You supported experiments ranging from combustion, how worms move in space, but I understand you're also a volunteer test subject. What does that mean? And can you tell us, you know, what experiments were being done?
Yeah, so one of the duties that we have up there is to be a human test subject to understand how the body reacts to being in space. We know a lot of the major portions. You know, we know we're going to lose bone density, but there's a lot of subtleties that go on when you're in space, and so the researchers are looking in minute detail of how the body is reacting, so we can send people to live in space for much longer periods of time. So let's see, it's hard to say exactly, but I know I gave a lot of blood and a lot of urine that is being examined on the ground now.
Okay, good. Because in my head I was envisioning they're doing things to you, and you know, but it sounds like it's more like a medical thing, and then they examine everything afterwards.
Space does a lot to you.
Yeah, I can imagine. Astronaut Noguchi, let me turn to you. You were the very first Japanese astronaut to conduct a spacewalk. Japan obviously supports a lot of research on the ISS. Can you share what excites you most about a mission like this, and share with us the work that Japan is doing in space?
Well, Donnie, thanks for having us. It's a pleasure. And of course, international cooperation is the key here in the ground and also in the space. And look at this crew. It's quite a diversified, and it just shows a sign of a great international friendship. And Japan has its own science module as well as a resupply vehicle. And we are all for the United States program going to the moon and forward.
That's great. I want to ask a couple of just really quick questions because I've always been curious about some things. I'll start with Commander Hopkins. I want to ask you about the air quality on the space station because you're not bringing in fresh air. You can't do that. It's constantly recirculated air. I imagine it being kind of stale and not great, but tell us what it's like.
Well, I think that's probably a pretty good description there. It is nice when you come back after 168 days and they open the hatch and you get that breath of fresh air out there. You know, in microgravity like that, it's not only just the air having to be recirculated all the time, but you know, humans are actually kind of messy. There's a lot of dust. There's a lot of other particles that are floating around, and so fortunately we have a great filtration system that pulls a lot of that out. But that also means then that there's always Saturdays is always a cleaning day up there. But in general, it's not too bad. I guess you get used to it, and you don't really notice it on a day-to-day basis until you get back to Earth and you open that hatch and you smell that fresh air.
And that you describing like Saturday being cleaning day, Astronaut Glover, let me ask you, does it, you're in space, the view is amazing, you're doing important stuff, does it become routine at some point when you're up there that long?
I don't think it becomes routine. You know, every day you're up there is special, and sometimes it takes a little effort to continue to make it special. But, you know, Saturday cleaning, for example, I enjoyed it. I would write home and tell my kids how much I was enjoying vacuuming because I could ride the vacuum and float around the space station. I didn't have to climb up the wall to get to the overhead, the ceiling. I could just float up there. I felt like a kid from a Harry Potter movie. It was great.
Shannon Walker, now regular people are getting the opportunity, they're mostly rich, I have to say that, to go up into space. We have space tourism. Any thoughts on that? Do you like that? Do you think it's good for other people to experience this?
I do. I do think it's good for other people to experience it, and I think it's good to help foster the space economy because that's really what NASA wants. We want to encourage commercialization in space to be able to get more people, more companies, more activities happening in space. So I think it's awesome.
All right. Well, congratulations to all of you on a successful mission. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. It's quite the thrill, and best wishes to all of you. Thanks.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Yep.